Okay, so I've just finished cutting all of the fabrics for the all of the different components for the String Theory handbag. So the first one is the lining, which is this one, and then I have two interior pockets, one of each of these colors, and then there is a little pen holder, which is going to be the stripe. The card holder is this big one, and it gets folded, so it should be interesting to see how that looks in the end. And then I have binding here, and my string closure is going to be here. And I'm not going to put this shoulder strap on this one. This is optional, as is the string closure. So all of these that you see down here, there are 8 stacks, and they are, first you cut these out, and then you use the leftover fat quarters and you stack them together, and you cut 3/4 inch strips, and those are your strings. So I've got my 8 stacks here, and the next step is to start stitching. Okay, so step 2 is creating the interior pockets, and they both have zippers on them, and these are the 2 fabrics that I chose for the 2 pockets. So what you want to do is fold them right sides together, and you want to fold them so that you have 5 inch by 11 inch. If you fold them the other way, it's not going to work. And I like to check. I have a little ruler right on the edge of my sewing machine here, so I like to double check before I stitch, just to make sure, because I have folded and stitched the other way. So then you need one of these or one of these. Oh, the fun part of sewing, right? So now we turn these right sides out and press. And number 2. Okay. Now we're going to add the zipper. I was just going to say I like to unzip it and zip it just to make sure it works, and this one is a wee bit sticky. This is a 12-inch zipper. Need to add a little lubricant to that later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to take the folded side, not the seam side, and I'm going to lay it on top of the edge of this zipper. I'm actually going to unzip it so the zipper pull is out of the way. Now, depending upon what kind of I'm also going to do needle down. Depending upon what kind of foot you have on here, you may need to change that or make an adjustment. Let's see here. you want to turn it over and make sure that you caught the zipper. And zip this back up. And then I like to, because we're going to have to cut this, because it's longer, the 12-inch zipper is longer than 11 inches, obviously. And I have the wrong foot on to do this, but I would do a zigzag over the top of this so that it doesn't split open, so it holds it closed, if that makes sense. And then you repeat it for the other one. Okay, so that is step 2. Next, we'll have step 3. Okay, here we go, step 3. So this is the card holder, and basically what it is it's an accordion folded piece of fabric, and all the dimensions for how to fold it are, of course, in the pattern. And I don't know if you can see, but right there I have a ironing board that has the 1-inch grid on it, and this process is super duper easy when you have one of these, but you know, you don't have to have it. You can use a ruler and measure too. And then I've also marked the lines with pencil showing where I'm going to stitch. So there's one down the middle, 2 half an inch from the edge, and then 2 in the center of those 2 seams. So you also can sew one down the middle and insert your cards or whatever it is you want, and then decide where those seams go. They don't have to be these dimensions. These are the ones that are in the pattern, but of course you can customize it to whatever you want. So if you want to be able to put your passport in here, for example, you might not want this row of stitching. So I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. Now you can pin, of course. Pinning is an option. Chugging through, there's a lot of layers there. Not so many layers that it should give you your sewing machine a problem, but more layers than 2. So I do like this back stitch start and finish on this one. And there you have it. Step 3 is complete, and you can see you can stick your credit cards, debit cards, key cards, driver's license, all those kind of goodies right in there. So next we will do step 4. Okay, step 4. Step 4 is so complicated. You guys are just gonna freak out. So this is a 4x4 square, and I have pressed a 1/4 inch under on 2 sides. Of course, being that it's a square, it doesn't matter which ones. What is going going on here? That's what happens when I talk smart. Trouble. I changed the foot on here, so maybe that's it, but this is the pen holder. I don't know if I said that. And now I'm going to take it to the ironing board and press these two raw edges under, and then that is the end of step 4. Are you confused? Okay, here we are at step 5, which is the lining. We're going to add the pockets and all the components to this lining. So you can probably see that there are a couple of fold lines, one here, one here. And these are just guides to help place the components. So the top zipper pocket is going to be placed, the edge of it is going to be placed right on the first fold, and I'm just going to sew around the perimeter of it. Now, if you want to divide this up for any reason, let's just say you want to have your cell phone here, and maybe you want to have a little pocket for change or tickets, or I don't know what, let's just, you know, make something up. Then you might want to stitch a line down here. But I'm just going to do once around, and all right, I'm going to start below the zipper just to make it easier for myself. So I am stitching probably what I would consider a scant 1/4 inch, because we are going to have the seam when we put the whole thing together. So I like to be kind of on the outside of that, so that your stitching doesn't show when you turn it. And I think, let's see, yep, this should be okay. Needle down, I'm going to lift the presser foot and move the zipper and finish up here. I don't want to go over the zipper. Oops. I usually use a plastic zipper, which makes things a little easier, but this is what I had, so a little trimming here. Whoa. Okay, So then we're going to flip it around and we are going to put the other zipper pocket on. You can see my sewing was not perfect there, so I'm lining this up. We'll just trim this boo-boo off. And you also want to make sure, so this is going to be a tri-fold in the end, which is why these are kind of important. But you also want to make sure you're on this fold at the bottom, but you also want to make sure that you have room up at the top as well. So, all right, let's give this a go with our beautiful black top stitching. So now this little guy is going to, this is the pen holder. So we have a 1/4 inch here. And I'm going to stitch that down. You know what? I did this backwards. I need to put this one on first to know where this goes. Place pockets and card holder, my instructions. I mean, I wrote these, I don't know how many years ago, and I haven't made one for a while. So we do have, let me look here. So the top of this should be 6 inches from the top there. So something like that. Now, we're basically going to sew down, across, and up on this one. And again, if you want to pin, you should pin. Should probably be trimming these threads as I go, but so now we're a 1/4 inch from here, and now we're going to be a 1/4 inch from here. So you can have as many pen, I should have had some pens handy. If you want to put 3 in or 2 in or whatever you want to put in. I think the pattern shows 2. Maybe I should go get some pens. Hold on. So again, depending upon what you want. Oh, look at how that matches. Doesn't get any better than that, does it? So there's 2. And if that's all you wanted, you could do that. Or, you know, what if you wanted to put this ruler in? It's too long, but so again, you know, put your stuff in, customize it, and figure out what you want to put in it, and then how big it is. And so let's say 3 pens, and then you're going to sew 2 lines. Actually, I'm not going to do 3 pens. You can, I think I've done 3 pens in the past, but I'm going to do 2, and maybe mark a little notch there where that goes. I'm going to just pull this out and sew it right where it is. You definitely want to backstitch on the start and stop, because there's going to be a lot of this, and so you want it to stay in place. And I guess it would be wise if you wanted to just test it in case you do want to rip out. So you could put something a little bigger in there, or you could move those over, or whatever. Okay, so now, other than trimming these threads, we have the inside lining done. And so you can see kind of how that will work on the inside. Now the fun begins. This is my favorite part. Okay, so in the last video at the end I said this is the fun part, and this is the fun part. When I first wrote this pattern, I became so obsessed with this part of it that I had like at least a dozen of just this done, no inside, just this, because I love making these things. So we have these 8 stacks of strips. These are 3/4 inch strips. This is a heavy duty interfacing. And when I say heavy duty, I mean really heavy duty. It's really thick. And there are a couple of number of different brands of this. I've also, and I don't even know what brand this is. I probably should tell you, Craftex. So what I've done is drawn some parallel lines at an angle. This happens to be a 60-degree angle, but you can do any angle you want. The lines, you're not going to sew on the lines. It just helps you kind of eyeball as you're going, so that the lines, so that your strips stay straight. Of course, if you don't want them to stay, I can't talk. If you don't want them to stay straight, then don't draw the lines. So that's how I like to operate. So I've taken one of each here and put them kind of in order of a gradation, and I think I'm going to start with that. So let me see here. So we take 2 strips and we put them right sides together to start. I'm gonna lay this, I am gonna lay this along this line. I guess it's kind of in the center. Move these guys to the side here. And then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch along the edge of all of these strips, and I'm going to sew it right down to the interfacing. So if you're using a fusible interfacing, you probably just want to finger press these open, unless you have one of those teeny little irons. And so now all you're going to do is stitch and flip and flip and flip and flip. So one of the reasons I think I love this so much is that because these strips are literally 1/4 inch wide, you don't really know the result until you've done it. And I love mediums like that. That's why I love stack and whack, because you don't know what you're going to get until you get it. And I love any art practice that's that way. So the fabric I'm using here is from my mother's flower garden, which is a collection I did for Northcott. But this technique with these tiny little strips is super awesome for if you have those super ugly fabrics that you don't know why you bought it, or it came in a bundle or something, because or novelty prints that you don't if you don't like novelty the novelty of the novelty print, because it's sliced so thin, you know, it's disguised, and so you can just choose it by the color and not by the motif. Okay, I am going to turn the camera off because the rest is all the same. Once I get this corner done, then I will start and flip it around and go this direction, sew the seam here and put this way, this way, this way. So I'll see you in a little while. So ta-da, here is the final exterior, and I have it pinned to the interior. So this is a little bit different kind of construction than a lot of bags. Normally the right sides are together and you turn it, but with this one you put them together with the batting, it's not the batting, the interfacing in between, like a sandwich, and then you bind it like a quilt. And I do have it pinned. I wanted to say earlier, I said I was going to do the tie method for closing it, and then I found this button. Can you see that? And I thought that button is just way too cool, and it goes with this fabric so well. So to do the button closure method, you need to have an elastic or a hair tie. This is just a hair tie, and that is stitched down and it's laying to the inside, and then when the binding goes on, and you fold it like this, the the button it's not wanting to fold because it's will be the closure. So that's how that works, and I am going to bind it, and then I will show you the finished product in the next video. One last look. Isn't that just yummy, yummy? Well, I decided maybe you want to see how the binding goes on. Maybe you're not a quilter. So this is folded in half, right sides out. I have the raw edge lined up with the raw edge here. And I am going to sew 1/4 inch. And okay, so then what you do is you turn this to the outside and you hand stitch this binding down, and you add the button and you're done. So let me go sit by the fire and hand stitch that down, and I will get back to you when I'm done. All right, see you later.